Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Vibes with Intuitively D. And today I'm here with a Mercury retrograde in Pisces video. The first part is just going to be me giving you some info about Mercury, some info about Pisces, the retrograde, and then you can fast forward to your rising sign and see what this might mean for you, and also some tarot pulls. But once again, my name is Deanna, and if you like my stuff, if you like the way I do tarot, it's really for the beginner, people that are just learning, and maybe even if you've been doing this for a while, maybe my takes are just helpful. You can like, share, subscribe the video, and I would be so very, very thankful. But let's talk about it. I'm just gonna take that moment as we've had a stellium in Capricorn, then we had a stellium in Aquarius, and now we will have a stellium in Pisces. And while we have almost every single inner planet in Pisces, Mercury will be doing its retrograde. Mercury is going to retrograde in water signs this year. This is not a time to be like, oh my God, and let's blame everything on Mercury retrograde. It happens 3 times a year, every year. And so if we're still blaming Mercury retrograde for things, I don't know what to tell you. Retrograde starts on February 25th. It lasts until March 21st. And of course, I have notes, else I will just talk about anything and everything. So, let's just go really smooth and easy. Mercury rules the mind, it rules communication, contracts, short distance travel, technology, and the way that we process information. It's about logic, it's about language, it's about decision making, right? Pisces is very different. The ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, and Neptune is its old school ruler. I think I forgot to mention that Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, and they all make a square to each other in a natal chart because they're all mutable. But Pisces is intuitive, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's non-linear. It is very much the ethereal state. It is the high priestess in tarot. At least for me, I love thinking it's the high priestess at its most evolved self, and at its most self, it is the hangman. It governs the 12th house and those themes, which is the subconscious, dream, spirituality, endings, rest, hospitals, your immune system. Um, Pisces also rules parts of the body. So whereas Mercury rules the mind, Pisces rules the immune system, the lymphatic system, so our lymph nodes and our feet and our blood. It also, of course, relates to oceans, bodies of water, fluids, and the subtle emotional body. So not necessarily the physical body, but the emotional body. And retrograde periods, I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face, because once I thought, when I accepted this, it made going through retrogrades a little bit easier. Of course, they're not always easy, but we do our best. So retrograde periods about review, revision, reduction, recalibration. They are not really great times for launching new projects. And so, while my life does not stop for Mercury retrogrades, I'm a little more mindful about the things that I start and do during that time. You'll have fear mongering people talking about, don't travel, don't sign a contract, don't do this. But if you got to move and you have to sign a lease, you got to do it. If you have to travel somewhere, you're just going to be extra super careful about that, right? Just discernment is going to be our best friend during this Mercury retrograde. Um, this is a time for reflecting, correcting, reorganizing, and rethinking. It could be about things that you want to learn. It could be about really listening to your intuition this time around and not thinking every decision has to be a logical, practical decision. Sometimes we just make decisions from our intuition, which is really, really nice. Mercury is not comfortable in Pisces, so there could be, of course, miscommunication with your healer, with dreams come out really crazy and wonky. Pisces also really dissolves boundaries. So Mercury can kind of put up some boundaries and be very um swords energy, where Pisces is water energy, immutable water at that. So like really having to navigate where boundaries are at and sticking to your boundaries. Mercury likes clarity and facts, and Pisces prefers symbolism and feeling. So when Mercury retrogrades here, we can experience a couple of different things. And of course, this is very general. So I don't know you personally. So I don't know how this is going to happen, manifest for you. And also, it's going to look very different depending on where Pisces is in your natal chart. I'm a Leo rising. So the way it's going to look in your chart might be very, very different. But we can think about brain fog might be something that happens, miscommunication, fatigue, disrupted sleep, lots of fatigue and exhaustion. I've already been feeling that. And vivid dreams. So, wild dreams, dreams that give you little steps to making decisions. So, really, maybe having a dream journal might be really lovely. Excuse me, sorry. Where's my water? Probably in the kitchen. Anyway, you might be a little bit more sensitive during this Mercury retrograde. When this happens, Venus will be there. Mars will eventually join the party. But, we're just going to do our best. Decisions might be based more on emotion than logic, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I think a lot of us have been operating in, robot zombie mode because we have to, because of the state of the world. But I think this might be a really nice time to see if we can dive back into our intuition and make decisions based on that when they make sense. So for very practical and structured thinkers, this can feel quite uneasy for you. It might not, you might have to go 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, to the side, up, down to come up with the answer. And that might not be so like easy, but just be curious about how things navigate. Plans might shift, information might be clear. You might have to wait until, Mercury retrograde is clear for there to be clarity. People might be coming back in your life and not really be staying. Why? All of a sudden, it's because I'm talking a lot. Hold on. Alrighty. So this is not really useless energy. I think we can learn and gain a lot. Intuition can be really, really strong during this time. Dreams can be really meaningful. So even if you don't have a dream journal, it'd be really nice for you to have like your phone and do like maybe a voice memo to capture it, because a lot of us don't really remember our dreams, but they can have really beautiful messages for us. Creative downloads, so dancing, singing, artwork, poetry, all of this might be really lovely during this time for you. This is going to be a time where there has to be some discernment and mental discipline, because you can't be there, here, and everywhere. I'll talk about the Sabian symbol. I'm a fan because my favorite astrologer is a fan of Sabian symbols. And so, of course, I bought the book. But because the retrograde is going to start retrograding at 22 degrees, we're going to round up to 23 degrees. And the theme for this is spiritist phenomena. The key word is sensitivity. 22 degrees is associated with Capricorn degrees. So Capricorn themes. So structure within the fog. Like, can we, in the midst of our fogginess and dreaminess, can we still see how to build structures and foundations and be disciplined and committed to our dreams? Not having to control it, but really being grounded in what we think we can achieve during this time. So you're asking to be like, we're thinking we want to be sensitive yet grounded, if that makes sense. The Sabian symbol is 23 degrees, spiritist phenomena. The key word is sensitivity, strange things happening. And I am almost 100% sure, because I've had some wild dreams this last week and Mercury hasn't even gone retrograde yet. This is going to speak of this time period. At its highest expression, so let me just read a little bit. The symbol speaks to the materialization of a higher reality, of the ability of man to tap into a potential that he can make manifest according to his particular will and desire. And I think that's where that Capricorn degree comes in. You can make it happen if you're disciplined and committed. You can make it happen. The key is not allowing the self to become distracted by the allure of every passing whim and fancy, or the trivial problems of everyday living. At the same time this is going on, Mars and Uranus are going to be in a hard square. Mars in Aquarius, Uranus, or just for a bit of it, it'll be in a square, really kind of wanting us to shake up and be liberated from broken down systems and things of that nature. So this is really going to have to like we're going to have to filter a lot of noise out to really get to where we want to be. On a practical level, the image alludes to psychic phenomena and the oftentimes entertaining activities of the invisible world. Do some magic; it'll be great. Let's see. At its highest expression, this speaks to refined intuition and focused psychic awareness. At its lowest, it becomes confusion, nervousness, and distraction. So the work is focused. We're really going to have to stay committed to being very in tune with ourselves and realizing where we're getting lost in the sauce. You know, that's what they say. Lost in, it's one of my favorite ones. Let's see. So a couple of things that I would take into consideration or to ask yourself as you're navigating this is, instead of like if you start spiraling about the woulda, shoulda, couldas, what can you think about, like what's being revealed to you now? What pattern is being interrupted? What needs to be revised? Really, the revision is really what I want you to think about during this retrograde. What do we need to revise so we can get some clarity, so we can be more in balance, in tune with our intuition? So, because I'm a restorative yoga teacher, a sound practitioner, I really think about the ways that we can move our body to embody this and flow through this transition. And Pisces rules the feet and fluid system. So, we really want to think about things that get us flowing. That can be lots of like slow motion dancing, things that support your nervous system. So think slow yoga flows, gentle flows, restorative yoga, walking meditations, rolling your ankles, foot massages. Tadasana with the consciousness of grounding through all four corners of your feet is really lovely. Legs up the wall, supported shoulder stands, like gentle inversions just to get our circulation going in the opposite direction. This is a time where we need to have tons of water, clearly. Lots of water, steam bath or steam rooms, steamy showers, sweating lightly, hot baths, really supporting detoxification without going to extremes, right? We don't want to do anything harmful. So this is not, I mean, if you're a bodybuilder and that's just your vibe, okay. But if you're thinking about, if you're a person who just is not very active and is thinking about how they can move their body during this transit, just really take things slowly. Think about tempo if you're lifting weights instead of like aggressively doing things. Maybe you slow down the tempo a little bit more. And I think that could be really helpful. It's about balancing your intuition and structure, and the retrograde can be quite productive. As always, use your discernment, stay grounded, stay observant, revise instead of react. And let things come to, my mom used to have a saying, or she still has the saying, so I have the saying as well. Whatever's done in the dark always comes to the light. And that's always been true in my life. Whatever things have been doing, you are happening in the dark, always come to the light. And that's not just everybody else, that's also you. So just be really mindful, like just be aware that you might not have to really do anything for people to show their true colors or for you to get clarity on things. Just be really observant. And that's just an overview of Mercury retrograde in Pisces.